Everybody, I wanted to share something with you that happened to me yesterday. So, for the last few months, I have been grinding all the time, trying to get better. Just always going to the range, always going to the chipping green, always going putting, just working on all aspects of my game. And over this last few months of really doing some hardcore practice, my game has just gotten marketably worse. It just kind of started falling apart. It kind of started at the end of last year's tournament season. I was playing in a tournament that I actually won, but every drive I hit had like a 30-yard slice to it, and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was pretty disturbing because driving is one of my strengths in the game. And I just kept searching, letting the body sort itself out and figure out why it wasn't organizing this process for me too well. And yesterday, after a lot of frustration and a lot of grinding, a lot of contemplating and realizing that, when you have a bad swing, what gets you to a good swing is working through it. Even though it's difficult, and even though you're hitting balls really bad and you're not really performing at the level you can, you just have to keep pushing through. And when you push through, and it's very painful mentally, and it's just challenging, but eventually you break through this wall, and what happened yesterday happens to you. And what happened to me yesterday was I had just felt something, as you always do, you feel something happen to your body and how it moves. And all of a sudden, I was performing the skill of golf at the most efficient, powerful, supple way that I've ever done it in my life. And I've played some great rounds, and I've played some great tournament rounds, and it's felt good. But yesterday was at a level I hadn't experienced. And I attribute that to not being okay with being where I was. And where I was a very good golfer. It was exceptional. But I felt that I was never performing at a level where I was like, this is where I should be. Like, hey, I've learned how to do the swing as good as I can, and if this doesn't perform at the best, that's it. I put my time in. But I always felt like there was more there. And I would always know. It always felt like this knowing, this feeling of saying, I know when I've reached my ability, my highest level of performance. And maybe there's more beyond what I felt yesterday, but what I'm saying is this was that level that in my mind for the last 40 years, 30 years of serious work on golf, and saying, I know there's more. I know what I'm doing isn't quite right because it doesn't feel exactly right and the compression's not exactly right. And yes, I'm shooting good scores. Yes, I'm shooting par golf, but it's not at this level of understanding that I knew I was missing. And I grinded, man. I mean, I looked in every avenue over the last 30 years of what it could be. What am I missing? What is the secret recipe? And yesterday, I had a round where all those things that I knew I was capable of and felt the potential of my being able to do happened. And it was, I guess I would say, like a spiritual experience. It was intense because every shot I hit felt just like I was like, boop, like this, and it would just go 280, 290, boop. I wasn't even trying. And it was just because all the pieces were coordinated in this perfect harmony that it all just fell right into place, and I had it there for a day. And I can honestly tell you, I've never felt it like this, where I had complete control over the golf ball through all corridors. So if I wanted to draw it, if I wanted to fade it, if I wanted to hit it high, low, I had complete control over the golf ball. And this was something I knew I was capable of because I'd done it intermittently but I'd never done it where I had complete control over the whole ball throughout the whole round. I'd always be like, I just can't seem to get that draw to work. And I always struggled with hitting a draw. It was always difficult for me to get the ball to go right to left. And yesterday I had to hit 3 times with a driver I needed a draw. And I mean, it just worked. It honestly, there were shots that I didn't know that I was capable of hitting because I'd never hit them like that. That's how good this was. And it just made me realize and wanted to share that I really believe that even if you're at the highest levels, we'll see golf go further in the future with lower scores and more creativity and different things being revealed, because there's going to be people that will just keep pushing through these barriers. And it makes me think about, like the 4-minute mile and all these different achievements that have been achieved that now we look back on, we're like, oh, that was nothing. So I felt that there is the final result of the golf swing is when you feel what I felt yesterday, where everything is organized, there is no pressure, there's no tension. It just feels like this amazing thing that is what you've always dreamed it should feel like. And when you're fighting your swing, you're like, man, this doesn't feel right. But yeah, I'm getting a result, but this doesn't feel like it should be right. And you can see in the high level pros, you see the efficiency of movement. You're like, man, it looks so simple. Telling you it is simple at that. And when you get to that feeling where it's all working together, symbiotic, you've got it. And I'm telling you, I recognize that's what peaceful golf is all about. I've recognized that you reach these little heights, these pinnacles, and then they go away. And you have to climb back up that mountain. But when you climb back up, you do get just a little bit further each time. But for me, it felt like what happened yesterday was I was able to walk like 20 feet past my previous thing and break through a whole barrier. Now we'll see, as I know, like I was going to say, you're going to fall down. This isn't going to stay. You know that for a fact. It's never going to stay. And that's not the purpose of golf, because I think if it stayed, people would get tired of golf pretty quickly. The whole challenge is that you grasp that thing for a moment, you hold on to it, and you look at it like a precious gem, and you hold it and you stare at it and it's beautiful. And the next day it's gone. So I'm not going to sit here like a million other pros do and try to tell you what I felt and how I moved and what created it. That's all nonsense. That was just feeling for me. It was just, honestly, there was no process. It was so simple. It was like walking down the street. That's how it felt. It felt like I was walking and talking to you, and I had no idea how this was occurring, but it was just happening in an effortless way. So we're not going to hold on to it. If it's there tomorrow, great. If it moves on to the next thing, I know that there's another barrier to pass through. But I'm just telling you, the barrier that I sought for 30 years of serious, intensive labor with the golf swing, I reached yesterday. And that was such an amazing experience that I just wanted to share that with you and give anyone out there grinding hope that yes, you will reach that. People always talk about, if you do poor practice, you'll never get better. I completely disagree. We look at the light bulb, right? He said, I went through 1,000 mistakes before I found the right one. 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb before I found the actual light bulb. So it's the same thing with Thomas Edison, for us. You could be practicing the wrong thing. You're going to know it's wrong just the way it feels and the result that it's giving you. That's how you know if what you're working on is correct. Because I'm telling you, what I felt yesterday was point and shoot, and it went right there. So that's how easy it should be when you reach that high level. And if you're not getting that, you're not getting point and shoot and complete control over the ball, you're not swinging properly. It's that simple. So just keep looking for the new movements. There's nothing wrong with trying every teacher's theory on the golf swing out there. They're going to give you insight into different movement patterns and different ways to move your body. I'm all for that. Just don't get stuck in one. Because if that one is not giving you the result, you're not moving right. Find the next instructor that says, hey, maybe you need to move like this, or maybe you need to be more stiff, or maybe you need to be more relaxed. No one can tell you what that formula is going to be for you, because there's no way I can give you a breakdown of all the different hundreds of moving parts in my body when I came in and hit that ball yesterday over and over and over perfectly. Because like I said, it'll probably be gone tomorrow. And if I try to capture it, it's like trying to hold on to air. You can't do it. It's just going to pass right through. That's how the golf swing is. It's going to move. It's going to be constantly in this transitional period and phase. That's why you see great pros lose it, then get it back, lose it, then get it back, because that's how it is for most 99.9%. I think the longest sustained thing was Tiger Woods, where he just had it. But again, you saw him lose it too. This is what I want to share. I want to share with you to keep looking, keep going, because there is a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I felt it yesterday. And you have to realize with golf, that's the real conundrum, is you get a lot less success and a lot more failure in golf. That's how it goes. So you better enjoy the ride, the punishment of not being able to coordinate this whole thing, because it's a very delicate balance. But once your body and mind all sync together to feel it, you don't have to do anything. It's there. You've got it. You might have it for one swing. You might have 100 swings. I might have it for 3 months, but I know it's going to transition into other things, because that's just life. Life is in a constant state of change. Everything around us is changing, so we better embrace it. You're limitless in your potential, all of us. I knew in my soul, with all this hard work, that there was a higher level that I could get to if I could just find the movements. And I looked in all corners. I listened to all coaches. I listened to everyone and everything around me to see if they're exposing me to something new that I haven't heard. And I allow my body to experiment with those things. And if it doesn't feel right, I move away. I don't force myself to try to move in a certain way and say, oh, I got to develop this. No, I want to be what makes me feel comfortable. I don't try to walk like other people. I try to walk like myself and feel like myself. What's comfortable, which doesn't give me blisters. What makes me move in an efficient way where I can walk for a few miles? What does that for me? And I find that out easily. I don't have to copy someone else. Now, a lot of guys will copy other people because they're trying to get this finite thing of playing at the highest level. I think that's a mistake too. I think you see the real individuals out there who have a different look or a different technique. Those swings are the ones that hold up over time. You see these guys with their own swings lasting well into their 60s and 70s. I mean, Freddie Couples is still out there, 65 years old, that smooth tempoed swing, still pounding it. So I think those guys who have their own little unique look and didn't really get wrapped up in all the instruction and copying other people, those are the people that really, really have successful golf careers, because they're not trying to change their swing. They're working within what feels comfortable to them, and if it technically doesn't fit all the parameters, they're not too worried about it because they see how it performs. So I didn't take any video of my swing yesterday. I just allowed myself, and that's rare for me, I'm always taking videos. I just allowed myself to play. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to corrupt my mind with what I would point out and say, oh, I don't know if I like that, or I like this, or doesn't quite look fluid. I know it was. I felt it, and I didn't want to have that on film to corrupt when I feel it, when I felt that, to say, I know I reached perfection. For me, at this point. I know there's probably even higher levels where you're going to be dialing it into 5 feet from the hole every time. But this was just perfection. I shot even par, and it was about 20, 25 mile an hour winds on a slope rating of 150 at Pete Dye course. And I just had complete control over that golf ball. Was I making a zillion birdies? No, I made 3 birdies on the day. But you just knew. You knew what you had done. You knew what you had felt. You saw the results. You saw the control. In those crazy winds, just the ball just staying right on line, going where you're looking. Just a phenomenal day. And if you're having a hard time right now, if you're working on your game, you know in your heart, in your mind, if it's correct. You know it. That's what I'm here to tell you, is you will know when it's correct. And you all know what you're looking for. You just haven't found it yet. But when you do, you will know it. It's that simple. So keep grinding. Listen to all the different ideas. Apply them. See what works. Be a scientist. Go out there and explore. Golf is an amazing game. It never lets us down with its complexity and new things it's always throwing at us. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the talk. I'm going to try to do some more of these if people like it, just kind of off the cuff, talking about my philosophy with golf and maybe some of my teachings and things that can help you grow as a student. And that's it. I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm off to my next adventure. My next adventure is going to be a small island in the Indian Ocean. Where are we headed? You'll find out in the next video. Till then, take care and peace.